This is me. Is that you? We're back. We're back into the wiring. Yay. All right. As you can see, I've acquired. If I decide to go wrong, I can have some lovely foam from the 1980s or 90s welded to my face if everything goes on to like fire mode. It's going to be awesome. Why was I not able to get my little bitty motor attached to his little bitty wires? Best guess, low wattage on the soldering iron. Wasn't able to maintain enough transferred heat to get things going on. And since we like to get it on like Donkey Kong over at this channel, a new soldering iron were procured. Let's unplug you. It's a little bit chilly this morning, but probably be out of the jacket here in a minute. See what's been happening here? It's a bucket of shit and it's getting worse. But hopefully we're just going to correct this and make it happen. Ooh, there went some heat. All right, 350 Cs. I want them all. I want to see what max is on this little kitty. I think I spent $9. Let's keep it at 400. 400 centigrade. So as you can see, it's an 80 watt ESD safe. I don't know what that means. So we'll see whether or not this thing actually gets down with enough power to get this aluminum convinced it needs to solder up. I went to these guys, Tuneful Cables, eBay, of course, and got some silver solder. More fancy than the regular stuff. So I figured, why not? And then, of course, there's another suggestion online that you get tinner. And I've got Thermaltronics tip tinner because I'm extra nerdy today. And Thermaltronics sounded good. So is this thing actually just, they say you just dunk your, ooh, it just melts right in there. Okay. Oh, it's tinny. I get it. I get it. Now it's sticky and gooey. Okay. Haha, that's hot. Don't touch that. People, this thing means business. Oh, it means business. Oh, it means business. All right, all right. Let's get the big old globules scraped off there. We don't need that. Hey, 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 your own cord can't be like a victim of your prowess as a soldering iron, okay? There goes another big old fucking Wadsky. All right, let's move the car in question. Put him over there. All right, so this one is immediately ready for service. Since everybody in the world is branded nowadays, you see this action right here? That's right. R4M Racing Team. That's the methodology. You know what I mean? It's like a science over there. It's a science at that channel. What am I looking for? This, one of these. one of those later. I'll take one of these now. All right, so I've got a wicked little soldering iron, and I want to do nice little pieces of wire. And we'll have just one short, doesn't matter. Last rotation wire. If I screw this up, I got no wire. But if I get this right, I might be able to get this little baby put to bed and have the motor size that I really wanted to on my RC car. I don't know if you checked out my other little mini video, just only 3 minutes long, but it's some of the road car racing that we were doing yesterday. It's good stuff. God, that Porsche's just set up. I love that car. And that Skyline too. I got to do some maintenance work on both of those as well. Plus, I've even got parts showing up that I believe I'm going to chuck them into that rally car back there because I got a radio coming for it. And I've been itching to drive that Cosworth for a minute. Okay, so let's get you locked in. Strapped in by a tire here. There we are. Now, the instructions say, supposedly, just a little of this. Ooh. Hey, 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 don't burn the cord. Don't burn the cord, slick. All right. Says it's 400 degrees. I don't know if that's actually like an accurate way to do that. Didn't really ever describe what it was like trying to get this stuff onto the wires. It's terrible. I mean, it really is terrible. Let's get this all warmed up. Toasted. There we go. The internet was pretty sure this was a quick process. Oh shit. This might have been a quick process. Hi! Oh, it's still toasty. Damn dog. Ooh, son, I think it worked. Now, here's the trick. Do we want to cut these off and start again? Because they're already welded on there pretty good. Let's see if I can just kind of strip them and get to the point of, oh man, that's going to be so difficult. Let's try the old school method. The old pinch and twist, huh? Just a nibble, nibble, a nibble, nibble, and a pull. There it is. I hope you saw that. If you didn't, I'm sorry. I was getting down with the technique there. All right. Shit. Did we just get this soldered in about 4 seconds? Doing it the right way with the right tools? That's scary. Okay, so, damn, that works so good, I don't know what to do with myself. It's still like soft at the end. It's not all freaking hard and crunchy like these other two. Well, we're going to figure it out. We're going to find out if it actually works or not, so. All right, put this down here. There we go. Kind of binds the wires. That way, if there's any like a tag wire that kind of comes popped loose, it has to pull past that shrink wrap, and naturally it won't do that. So the heat shrink at the end of the wires, I believe, is an important thing, even though it doesn't cover the whole ends. I'm not expecting something to bridge this or anything. I'm just like if one of these strands of wire or something gets loose, I don't want it touching. Okay, so let's looking for relatively short lead wires here. And frankly, that is a little bit too short of a connection. There we go. Really, somewhere in this size range of tag end is all you're going to need as far as the stripped end. I may be doing this a little bit short on the wires side of things. Normally people like to have a little bit more wire, I think. But for me, I'm not. As long as the wires coming off of the motor, you can see, are essentially the same length. If they're the same length, it's getting the same signals. It's getting the signal in the right timing. Okay. The only reason why I know this is because I screwed up, and I'm going to turn this off because it heats up so quick. And this thing is awesome. I have to say, so far, your $9 soldering iron just solved the problem. Put him over here to cool him down. Yeah. Thermaltronics tip tinner. If that's part of the magic, holy crap, it worked. I don't know about tuneful cable stuff. I'm sure it's great solder, but I don't think I had to use it. Maybe I did. I don't know. I didn't even see it. It all happened so quickly. It's like I wasn't even there. It was an out-of-body experience. No, I didn't. I don't remember putting that shit in there. I had it at the ready, but wasn't doing it. Okay, so what I need to do is there. Does it go? Or is that just, yeah, that's just the end cap. Sensor plate is the end cap, and this will be our, okay, so sensor plate can be clocked. Groovy. Oh, nice. So that timing can be changed. Oh, that's excellent. Good to know. No timing marks of any kind. All right, so if it doesn't work, I might have to adjust this timing because this is going to be an issue. groovy. Super. Let's see. Okay, so you don't want it facing straight up. You'd want it facing somewhat like that, or out to the back like that. So if it's coming in, there, that should get me where I want to go. Oh, that's the back face plate, right? So here, yeah, let's try it. Trying to figure out how this clocking goes because I didn't pay attention to it, and it's been about a week. So this way. I'm gonna go this way with it. And my little gasket's kind of being a pain in the ass, but the gasket there is trying to keep me from roaching the entire motor. I assume that's what his job is. Don't hurt the motor. Okay, so you have to think the ring, the little cut part of the ring goes inside of it. Aha! But look, uh-oh, that's not good. There's contact. Shitty. That's not what we want. Okay. I believe a cold scraping is in order rather than heating it up again. I will take my trusty razor blade and scrape the offending metal. Hopefully not scraping the offending thumb, who happens to be right there in the old danger zone. It's not good, Captain. It's not good at all. Oh, the pressure. Oh, okay. So, more. Trick is not to have that snap through and cut the wire. My freshly soldered on, brand new, works great wire. We're getting close. I've a chip of solder coming off. There it goes. And I get the little shavings some more. A little more shavings. There we go. There it is. Okay. Hopefully. All right, so that's the lug where that one's connected and soldered, but it's inside the ring. Okay, you got to kind of understand how these things are assembled to get them back together correctly. So it bears taking just a minute to poke around and see. So you see how the little gasket kind of provides a little bit of upward cover for that metal area where all this is. And if my webcam sucks so bad you can't see it, I apologize. Trust in the fact I am telling you the truth. We would have seen sparks on that one. There. Clocking the sensor over towards the front end of the car. The way down. That way, This gasket is a pain in the ass. It's supposed to be there. Wait a minute. Why has that got 3 holes in it? Oh, because I'm using. Yeah. Okay. Try to point it that way. Well, let's just see if it works. See if it'll suck down in there. Yeah, just kind of tightening down, huh? How about your friend? Your friend want to go too? Not much. Not very. Ooh. Is that a confirmation of sorts? Oh man. I'm not sure. I am not sure about this one. Feels like that's the way it should go. It's got a freaking retaining ring cut into it. And it should be sucking down in there. But then again, is that truly how that goes? That doesn't seem right. It sure as hell ain't sucking down onto that thing. And it's going to cut the gasket. All right. That is not the way it goes. Let's see. Undo my screws. You see, if you're gentle, you can start to seat things and then start to look at it and say, oh, well, no, that can't go that way. It's silly and it's not the way it would work properly. So then you can take a look at doing whatever you have to. And it is wanting me, it is desperate to have me, because there's a cutaway section now that I'm looking at the back of this. This cutaway section happens to coincide directly with the little metal plate there. But this is preventing me from clocking. Oh, shit. Yeah, see? That wouldn't do it. It wouldn't do it at all. That one would, though. Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. Okay. There's 2 cutaway sections in that back piece. One of them fits one way and the other one fits the other way. So I did have it with the ring in the right spot. That's a good thing. Most of you are probably confused by now, but hey, I don't get a lot of live viewers. I'm assuming that you're coming from a different time and place if you're watching this. Reality might be completely different by the time you're watching this. All right, so there's a notch right here that points this sensor up this way, I'll bet you. Yeah, there's our bearing plate lining up nicely. Okay, so let's finish snugging these down. All right, how this works is that around the edge of this, on the inside, they had milled a little step in there and a little kind of a locating ring, but they had also cut it to clearance for the metal plate and the gasket. Obviously, they're German. They know what they were doing when they built this so that it wouldn't make sparks and let the smoke out. But me and my big, ugly American hands had to get in here messing around with stuff. All right. Here's something that's a little bit tricky dicky. This is obviously here and can be adjusted to a bunch of different directions. And now that I've kind of messed around with this thing, it's sitting there cocked off like that. Can I hold that down? Ooh, that's going to be fun. Ow. Okay, so the timing on this motor can be clocked and changed. Super. Oh, damn. I guess that ain't going to be the way it goes. Oh. Oh, maybe. Okay. Ah. All right, from what that looks like is that I've got it a few degrees advanced. So I need to get some screws in here and just kind of get to cooking with putting it back all the way, and then I can adjust it a little bit on the so-called flip side. Phew. Oh. It's early in the morning. My hands aren't made to be freaking vice grips. So, oh look, okay. I see on the case here they've got some timing marks. So, I wonder if they've got, awesome. How Germanic. No instructions at all. If you're not smart enough, you can't know. If you were an engineer, you would know. Right? What excuse would they have for me? But there's no instructions to tell me about these things. But I should just know? Okay, well, what we're going to do is try and get these down just a touchy touch here all the way to this end point and see what that does for it. Probably advances the hell out of it. If it retards it, I don't care. Advancing it, yeah, it would probably handle it just fine. What I've got is an issue where the tires are so grippy that the strength of the motor being an instantaneous pull is basically unscrewing the spring-loaded bolt that holds the ball differential plates together. If you don't understand what that means, let's see. It's a different style than this one. But in this, you can see the little holes in this gear and then these little plates right here. Well, on this one, they've got a little tiny bolt right here. And it's got spring plates like little rings that are warped up. And then when you crush them, so they warp, and then when you crush them flat, it provides a spring tension. On the ball differentials that this car has, and it's got twins, front and rear ball diffs. It's the same theory of operation, just different methods to get there. So you've got these, what they mean by ball differential is that you've got these little itty bitty ball bearings, okay? So the gear is cut to one side where the back side has a little ridge in the hole, and it holds, as you drop the ball bearing down in the middle, it kind of holds it in the gear. Then you take your pressure plates and put them on the sides of it. And as you put spring tension on the pressure plates, it squeezes the balls into the gear, and both pressure plates can make contact with it. So you can tighten it down to where it locks all together. You see, it's actually turning those. Or you can have it be free. See, so I've got it set fairly loose, where it'll let a wheel kind of spin. Unfortunately, how quickly these things smack into power, and because of the added traction that I've put on here, it actually grips so hard that it unscrews the nut and bolt from the ball disc. So it's not exactly a happy thing. All right, what, if anything, were we going to do beyond this? Now's the time to check out our little guy here. Motor control is an LRP Spin Super. RC Mart. If you haven't checked out RC Mart, you're crazy. They're in Hong Kong, and they have some pretty darn good service. Okay, so we need to segregate these just a bit so we don't get any weird wires touching. Make sure if you got any weird tendrils of wire, clip them off or cut them off. Scissors can do wonders on little wires this size. Usually, the way that they're wired, as far as I can tell, is left, right, middle, you know, keep it like that. Maybe oh, look at that. Germans who've heard of instructions. Blue wire to motor A, yellow wire, motor B, orange wire, motor C. A, B, C. Blue wire, yellow wire, orange wire. You see how it just kind of goes in the mix, but if you do it like this, because the thing's sitting there, you know what I mean? So we're going to have to mount it in the car like this. All right? Which is fine. I don't think that's going to be an issue. We can do a nice little zip tie for the battery connection right there. And it'll just be kind of up in there. The body is pretty tight, but this is right where the cockpit bubble is. So should be, you know what I mean? Should be right in there. This is kind of where we've got some room to hang some wires. Or let them just chill out as it was. As it were. Okay, so we're going to need potentially a longer sensor cable than the one that I have bought. I bought one of these, but this is just a nice little spare. I also have this one in case we can shorten that up a bit. See, we're going right over the top, and we don't need massive. And let's see if we're already at the matching amount of massive. They are. So these are the same 200 millimeter cables. I've got a high flex 70 mil down here, little 70 millimeter sensor cable, but that's unnecessary. So we're just going to have to add some extra sensor cable on there, just the way it goes. All right. Hmm. All right, to be honest with you, when they designed these sensor cables, they probably designed them to be like a little bit less snug of a fit. Because the edges, the tabs on the edges that you would use to push this stuff down, well, let's be kind. Let's say that they're delicate. Okay, so motor sitting there, thingy sitting there. We've got some mapping to do because there's not going to be much of a battery coming through here, but there will be a little. And then we got to come up through here and obviously get our little control wire in. Battery wires, I believe we're just going to run right up there. So right literally next to that with the corner edge of, there we go, I can do that. That way the capacitor doesn't get into the belt, but the very corner of the motor controls is still just to the inside of the carbon fiber lower deck. That way it's getting some protection. We can rock this right up through here. Yeah. Yeah. We could share a zip tie spot right there. Just replace that zip tie with a new one. It'll capture the sensor cable and the radio wire. This radio is probably going to get upgraded at some point because I'm not really too stoked about having a whole radio cable going through there, crossing over wires like that, and then across the battery wires. So, as I'm sitting here looking at it, I think that's probably where I'm going to stop. I don't need to put this back together, but I do need to test it. And the only way to do that's with the freaking radio attached. But yes, that gets us to the point where this little wiring thing is doing okay. If you have to, you can also take a little bit of RTV silicone, the stuff that you like form a gasket that you would make for, gasket sealer or whatever, intake manifold gaskets, stuff like that. Your black silicone. I don't really have any sitting around. I don't use very much of it. You can take some of that and just coat these wires. That way none of these they all kind of get glued together, but the silicone you can peel it off later so that none of this, because I've got some wires here that are kind of doing their little funky dance. I will try. A little bit of super glue first so we can get them to stick together. Aluminum wire is a pain in the ass. Copper wire just accepts the tinning and everything so much better, but of course I can't say that this didn't. It did accept it just fine. It's just kind of annoying. Yep. All right. We're gonna pause this build because I wanna get it. I want to get a motor control or a radio hooked up to that. So, back in there with you. So yes, success as far as that goes. Now I know that the wires are on. You can we can just plug them in, and it should go just fine as far as that goes. If needs be, I'll be able to get a different set of wires put on there or whatever if I need to go longer, or if the motor gets pissy because I didn't quite get it exactly perfect or something like that. But so far as from what I've seen, you just want them within like a 1/16 of an inch as far as wire length. And how do I know that? Because of this guy right here. That's right. Something scary and Ford from a long, long ago. See, we didn't get these here in the States. We got something that looked like this. As a matter of fact, I was 9 years old the first time I drove something that looked like this. It's probably why I'm owning one now. Ours was called a Ford Escort. Nothing like a Ford Sierra. It wasn't rear-wheel drive. It did not have any kind of big, gigantic wings on it. Yeah. We didn't get these. But these were like rally and road racing, hardcore kind of cars. I got this body from Australia. Quite a while ago, and the livery that I got for it was actually a Bathurst livery, the Tuies 1000. Here, I'll show it to you. Johnson and Bowie were the drivers. I believe the guy's name is Dick Johnson, and it was actually a red Sierra. See, the Tuies 1000, number 17, Palmer tube mills, driven by Johnson and Bowie, but it was a Ford Sierra Cosworth, and it was a Shell Ultra. It had Shell Ultra High back here, like a big Shell logo. I looked it up. It was bright red, yellow, and pretty cool car, but not the way I was doing it. So I did it in the old fetching white and metallic metal flake blue, but I did a whole bunch of different kind of graphics on it. And then in Great Britain, I found a Colin McRae livery, the Gemini livery, from a rally car that he actually drove. So it's kind of a blend at this point. But I like it. Sacrilege. I like a Ford. All right, so this little guy here, what do we have? What are we rocking here? What's going on? Holy crap, is that a... Oh, no, okay, I get it. That's one of those $20 steering servos, like a 20-kilo steering servo. It's got aluminum hot racing servo saver, one of the spring-type servo savers. Jazz Rider has provided me an aluminum bearinged steering setup, so it's no longer plastic. These are rims and tires that I glued, and I don't know if you can see the edges around the rims. Horrible. They're crusty and chunky from the glue, and I think that, I mean, for now I got them good, but I might need a set of bead locks and some better rally tires for that. Although these rally block tires are incredibly grippy. They just rip the track to shreds. All right, well, let's see what we got. What do we got in the bin? I think there's stuff in here. There should be stuff in here. There's things. There's a whole pile of crap in here. Let's see what we got for a TA-02. I didn't tell you, this is a TA-02 chassis. It might even be a TA-01 because of how these arms are back here. I think this is a different configuration to my 02 chassis. Of course, this is the O2SW, but these arms just look different. There's a different cock off, and I know that these are flipped so that it shortens the wheelbase, but even still, the arm construction, you can see these arms have a little X mark in them, okay? And the other ones don't. If you want a better comparison, I suppose. You see how those arms have just been flipped backwards? Oh, yeah, there's. See how they got the cross in there and they're angled backwards, but see the gap just isn't as big, even though the wheelbase is the same. God damn it. I'm terrible at camera shots, so just bear with me. Oop. Oop. There it is. See what I'm saying? Like the rear arms are different. So what I think has happened, and this kind of gives me a little bit more confidence in that analysis, is because this is the body that showed up. And you can see because wheelbase matches perfectly. So this used to be a Calsonic Nissan R32 Skyline. And until recently, this was on a TRF 417X. That's why I've got multiple body holes. And then when I broke the wing, it kind of broke my heart. So he's kind of just resting with the other DTM cars and stuff down there. There's a pile of really good stuff down there. So what I think we have here is a TA-01, very early model of their series. What I've collected here, oh, there's another ball bearing steering set. This is the way they show up. Jazz Rider's pretty groovy about it. They give you the aluminum and the bearings, little brass chunks for the turning surfaces. We don't need that right now. I do have a carbon fiber upgrade for the chassis. But to be honest with you, I don't want to do it to that one. I kind of had machinations that I was going to build another one of these cars because I have a set of silver gearboxes. And when I've been thinking about it this whole last week, this came off of one of those chassis. And I was thinking about what kind of a body would I want on it. And, you know, I really like that Skyline. I've even got the little aluminum steering posts and a few other things. So I may be doing a little bit different sort of thing on this. There's a steering servo saver. I've got a ball differential sitting there waiting, and I've got another one in here that's a complete unit. So that's what the ball diff looks like when it's completed for these vehicles, right? I've even got a whole nother chassis just kind of sitting and waiting. I do have a brand new set of the Subaru rims and tires. Also, I've got these knuckles, very fetching gunmetal, and these uprights, which I think are going in today. Let's see if we can't get those in there. Let's get rid of that. All right, and something else cool. Not the gear here. This, believe it or not, is one of their hardened drive shafts. You can see it's a lot bigger than their regular one. So the regular one's just the little wire ends and stuff like that. This one's got big flat paddles to drive the drive shaft cups, but it takes, of course, rather than these drive shaft cups, you see how it just holds this and turns it. Okay. What we have instead to go in with the hardened series, and see, I've been stocking up like these little gear shafts and stuff. I've been finding them so that you can run, you can build out the gearboxes from spare parts. Because the spare parts, you can get the gears, you can get the gearboxes, you can even get the chassis, like as a carbon fiber, and start fresh for building a car, right? But you have to get like the little hard parts, the drive shafts, the little cups. Now they sell these little drive cups for when you get the gears built. And occasionally they'll sell you that kit that I showed you up there. Oh, that way. Here. This one. You see? It's a ball differential kit. And it says it's for a manta ray, which is fine. That's all well and fine. I'm not saying that it isn't. And I'm not saying that these gears necessarily go together. They do. Perfect match, of course. Just like I suspected. They put this chassis together in a lot of different variations. So the manta ray was like a buggy version. But you can see all of the parts are the same. You see? If you look, they're the same little pieces and parts in there. So, multiple ball diffs available. And I've got most of the parts needed to get into building another one of these, even a carbon fiber road going version, which I actually would really like to have. So I think I'm going to go ahead and put that Skyline back in service, glue the wing, sexy it up a little bit, and get him back out there. But in one of these chassis. Now what I'm looking for is this, his partner. You see how that's a sealed up cup, a little flat space in it? What that's going to do is go right in there like that. And of course, your gears, where the hell those are, I do have some, I know that. Your gears will go on the end of it and drive off of your differentials. Linking the front and back gear case. I'm stalling for time because I lost the other one. I have all these little parts for this thing. I'm leaning towards building a Skyline, honestly. I really am. Ah, look at that. You see, I can stall for more time. There. You see how that goes right through the center? See that? It drives it. And then drive shaft. Still stalling for time. Can't find the other one. Damn it, Jim. Some of you might say I should organize this stuff, but sometimes it breaks a little bit and you got to kind of get busy and put it back together and get back out there. Excuses ensue. Well, that sucks because I'm 100% positive there's two of them that came with that. Clear at the other end, or it may be that it is migrated bins on me. That could be a possibility. Damatel. Well, that piece is mandatory, so if I can't do it, if I can't find it, I'll just have to wait until I can find it later. Because you can't put in that drive shaft without that little chunk being there. You can't put the, well, hell, I don't know. Maybe you can. Maybe I can do it half-assed, huh? Can I do it half-assed, viewers? Oh, shit, look at that. That hardened drive shaft just goes into the native cup, so there it is. I want to give a brief little look in here just to see if we got anything cooking around in here that was that because I accidentally mingled some parts here. I don't know if I got that one stuck in the wrong bin. Got a lot going on. Cut me some slack. All right, well, that's an upgrade they'll have to wait. You and you back in there. I don't know where that went, so I'm not going to sweat it today. Today is a fun day. All right, let's get into some Jazz Rider knuckles. And, ooh, I love the way these things feel. And we're going to do some Yeah Racing uprights. Knuckles and carriers, I don't know which way you'd refer to them as, but... Oh, hell, these even come with the little ends that are necessary, little new tie rod ends. That's cool. All right, bearing C-hub for Yeah Racing. Let's see. There you go. Take a screenshot of that. Feast your eyes. All right, so as you can see, come with these gorgeous little knuckles, something in the tops there. Let's see. I'm not so sure about those something in the tops there things. What is that? Can I take that out of there? Yes, I can. Okay, so these are your basic like Teflon bushings. Which, you know, if you're into that sort of thing, I guess that's okay. Jazz Rider also sells bearing sets. That one is for an XV01. I figured I'd just give you the old flashy flash. Other ones that I have purchased across the time here have given me if you have the Tamiya instructions, you can in fact go look up the bearing sizes, because I don't know which bearing size I just popped out of here, and it could be any of them, 15, 10, 650, 750, all that. But if you look, what I purchased, okay, you see how this is the ring that came out of it? Here's the bottom of the other knuckle. You see how now I've got a little bearing, because I bought a bag full of them. All right. So the very first thing that I do to all of these little plastic bushings is take them out. I don't throw them away, because you can usually use them for spacers and other stuff. Sometimes in cheaper vehicles, it's hilarious how much stuff Tamiya actually fits into. Now, you can get Tamiya parts to fit into damn near anything. And how do I know this? Because the bushings for the steering on my Axial Yeti wore out, okay? These little knuckle bushings, bearings, whatever you want to call them, they actually use in the Tamiyas in the gearboxes. Now look at the size of that. You see? That's an Axial Yeti, okay? Put the keyboard back up here. There's a Yeti on top of a TA-02. That's how much bigger this machine is. But if you take a look right in there, you can't really see it because of the mud, but that's where the steering is in here. I promise you, there are Tamiya parts in there. Little bearings. Well, there were the little oiled bronze bushings that come as part of some of the kits. And I will show you those because I saw them. I can, of course, find all the wrong parts. The parts that I don't really want. The parts that I'm not using. Those, easy to find. Now that I want to look at these, not so much, but I know I had one of those things sitting around here. Oh well, trust me. There's bushings that size in a Yeti and others, like the Red Cat Volcano is another one that's got Tamiya bearings in it, or Tamiya sized bearings in it. Tie rod ends and all kinds of stuff. I'll put Tamiya parts in anything. I'll put them in your grandmama's Buick. I don't care. Okay, so we got the knuckles. As you can see, we got some bearings in them now. And what we're going to be doing is taking these off and loading these new knuckles up with everything. Let's get some. What do you say? All right. As you can see, I've got some adapters in there. Now you get these little 10 millimeter adapters, right? See how it says 10 millimeter on there? Trouble is they think that you're going to take like a 1 millimeter Allen head and clamp it onto your axle, and it's going to stay there, and that these little axles go through long enough where you're actually going to get a good bite on the lug nut with what's left sticking out, which it doesn't, not even close. It comes out to here, and then the wheel covers this, and then you've got literally nothing sticking out the other side. So what you have to do is take these little lug nuts from, where the hell's that drawer at? Like that, some screeching for your ears this morning. All right, so you buy these little aluminum adapters here, these big 15 mil ones. And if you can find the 10 millimeter ones in these adapters, they're great, but you got to buy a couple of sets and you'll get these little baby lug nuts. In some company, there's one company that I bought from, and I forget who it is right now. But when I bought these, I said I needed the short ones, and they just sent me a set of the short lug nuts for like $2 or $3. So you can order the ones separate from that one place, but I totally forgot who it was. Because I just order sets from different places, China, here, wherever. Who's ever got them? And back to these ones. The purple ones, you can see that they're different shapes. That they're not flanged like that, but they're not nearly as big in the center, and they cannot handle the centering cone on these big lug nuts. So what you got to do is obviously get your drill. Get the drill. All right, here we are. Here it is. Let's take apart this one. Righty-o. Yeah, hell, over there. Here's your little cross pin. Oh, what shape is that? What do I use? I'm going to use one of these and hope it works. The knuckles on these 02s have a stepped screw. It's a shouldered screw. But on this end, it's a fine thread, like, well, not a fine thread, actually. It's a regular threaded metric, I think a 5 millimeter or something like that. 4 or 5 millimeter. 4 millimeter, man. But you'll see here in a minute that the knuckles do not have, or these uprights, whatever these are. All right, there's your little doggy bone. There's your outer knuckle assembly. You slide this out of here, mostly. Ooh, I caught the screw, I didn't catch the screwdriver. Or you can just smack the shit out of it and get it out of there. Take it out with the bearing. That's freaking healthy. Checking the bearing doesn't seem bad. Why don't we just go right back in the hole with that one? There we go. There. Beautiful. It's beautiful. Little pushing, little poking. Pushing from the center of the bearing may not be the best option all the time, but stabbing into the sides of it is not really that good for it either. All right. Ooh. Ooh. Is that crunchy? Or is that just dusty? Tell you what, we're gonna spare bearing that one. If I can find the right size here. Nope. Oh, wait. Bingo! What's his name-o? Oh, there's some more. Look, if you buy these are one of these little $10 sets of bearings, right? So you can see there's another knuckle bearing in there. Or, I mean, an upright. A bearing for the upright, this one, the little baby one. So they come as your typical bag o' bearings. You can get blue and orange and yellow and all kinds of stuff. So what we're going to do... Uh-oh. It's not exactly the right size, is it? It is not. Fail. TA-04, maybe. This is why you just buy bearing sets from multiple different models, because they will intermingle. Aha, see, that's a totally different bearing size to what the regular outer wheel bearings are, which is cool. I like that. I like the fact that they change it up. Why do I like that? Because you can see that physically they're putting a larger bearing out there on these axles, which is good. I like a heavier bearing. Means the car can take a little bit more of that brutality that we have to offer. Exactly the smoothest set of bearings I've ever had, but they are ball bearings. Now we could stop right here. We could go right back in. You see how the aluminum knuckle fits and goes right back into the plastic upright. Put in the little ball end. Finito la comediantos. You got it done. If you want to get further into this, take your screw shaft out. Is a shaft with a screwed shoulder, a threaded shoulder. So you'll see there the threads are up at the head end, and the shaft is what the upright rides on. Okay. And then what have I done with it? There's what I did with it. All right, so I've got this guy. He's already been upgraded to an Allen. Mostly Tamiya uses only Phillips head screws. Kind of frustrating. That's why I stock the steel Allens or hex head screws, whatever the hell you want to call them. All right. Oh. Okay. So that's All right, so we're gonna have to make a little bit of a design change here, I think. Not a big one. This is gonna go into here. Ooh, that's gonna be devastating to that shock tower. You know what? I think they gave me everything I need. We've got a couple of these that are installed with the ball ends right on them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this guy and unscrew it. Screw their new ball end back on there. Which is really, I mean, it's a tie rod end with a ball end installed. And hopefully what will happen, and these aluminum knuckles from EA Racing are made to fit with your original arms, the plastic arms, so that you can actually just kind of pop in the set screw or the shoulder, the shaft screw, and it just tightens right down and they move, right? So we come back down in here. There we go. Okay. The ball ends have a hex head in the top. It takes a little bit of flexing to get them to start. And I got to tell you, it's not necessarily going to be very friendly to the shock tower when you're taking hits like this, okay? It can move a little bit. Obviously, the suspension moves very freely, okay? But right here on the back side of the shock tower. So what I'm going to end up doing is taking this and spacing this out just a little bit back here to make sure that it kind of keeps that caster angle and sets that doesn't have that stress from this hitting backwards. Okay, because it's supposed to go right up, but it will take a little bit of a torsional load at times. And I guess it's if it hits from the bottom, it's only forcing it forward. Okay, I like it. We're good to go. Now we're going to take this. There we go. Little brass tie rod ball end. Oh, nice. That's covered in oil. Love it. We have leaked. We have a leak. All right. Luckily enough, all the little thread pitches and stuff usually match up. And you can see that when they made this, the design is pretty much identical, right? You got same stuff and it fits perfectly the same way. These Jazz Rider knuckles are like $10 plus $5 or $6 shipping. If you are a real wise ass like I was on that 037 kit that I bought, you can take and order the kit. If you order a whole RC kit, it's got its own box. So they're just boxing that box up and shipping it. If you order a bunch of other parts, what I did is told them use the small part shipping and combine it with the kit's shipping and air ship it to me. And these guys did it. they sent me the Lancia kit, FedEx Air, and it costs extra, you know, no doubt about it. It costs extra, but worth it. Okay, so here we do have an issue. Probably just an issue of understanding, really. I'm trying to figure out how to get. Ah, okay, that's what happened. I put the tie rod in the upper arm, basically. It essentially, like, to me, it looks like a tie rod, but it's an upper control arm. And I put it into way too deep. And if it doesn't work, if they're just offset too far or something like that, I'll just have to get a or whatchamacallit, different set of axles for it. I think. Yeah, I think that needs to be a little bit more out there. And I do kind of wonder if we can find an axle shaft that is just a touch shorter. Wait a minute. That's one thing I know I've got in here. There we go. That might be a smarter maneuver. Let's see if this fits better. If it does, that'll be kind of cool. The little knuckle here is kind of being a pain in the butt. Kind of being a pain in buns. Let's see here. Don't think that one necessarily works. Unless, of course, I rake the camber in real hard. I don't want to do that. This is kind of the adjustment process when you're getting stuff like this done, because whatever mods you've done to the vehicle previous, you're going to have to deal with those as well. Get to accept in there. So, see a little bit farther outboard on the caster, or I mean the camber. If I can get my terms right. There we go. So seal the deal kind of feel. Yep. Wrong side. All right, well, it looks like we're going to have a little bit of bump steer maybe. But I also think that it's doing good enough to give it a shot. See if we can't get this screw to get in there. Really? Did we just achieve quad? Ooh. Let's see what that looks like down here. Well, it's snug. It's definitely snug. There ain't no doubt about that. But I feel good that it's getting. Yeah, that's stiff. That's real nasty. It's not even really. It's a little too far in there. Uh-oh. All right. Well, we may be having to do a little bit of something different here. Wow, that seems real. Mmm. Seems awful serious, that connection. You know what I mean? Seems awful serious. I might need to get some low-rise shouldered screws for the upright to knuckle connection. I feel like maybe that's part of it, as well as potentially all right, don't know if you can see that or not, viewers, but that's a little baby O-ring seal, a little rubber seal. It doesn't really seal anything off necessarily. It just kind of keeps the axle contained. Ah, yes, okay. All right, put this back in. All right, now that doesn't seem quite so snug and tight. It's not binding. I'm not hearing the the rubber and the O-rings creaking and all kinds of nasty stuff. Now this is still tight in here. Very tight, actually. Kind of wondering whether or not I should leave it or not. Because we're not getting into where the screws are supposed to be, where they're riding on the bearing. It's just as it spins and does everything it's supposed to. Well, let us say I'm not exactly happy with it, but that I'm not exactly unhappy with it. I do believe that the tolerance from upright to knuckle is a little bit tight. That being said, I also believe that I've got a big ass sandy freaking racetrack that's gonna wear that right now. It'll wear that right down. So hopefully that'll be the smoothing action that we were looking for. All right. Well, let's do another knuckle and upright. Because I'm having so much fun. I broke my XV01 again. My Lancia is down. I don't know how I did it, other than to say I did it. So I'm going to take the 3800 motor out of it and put in something schmala. Probably a 15.5 turn. There's those, and then we unscrew the tie rod end because we're cool like that. I don't have a lot of room for this one. Cool thing is, I think I stuck in these cool guy rod end things that have got hexes in the ends of them. Oh yeah. So see how big that is. Let's swap it out with a bigger one. So it's just a shaft with a hex in the ends. That's how cool Yeah Racing is. They give you little cool shaftings and stuff so you can screw stuff together. I'm probably going to do that to this side. Screw this one all the way down in. And then that gives me enough of the room that I need to take this little guy, screw him all the way in, and get to have like a proper engagement there. Proper camber. Is that gap? There we go. I think that gap ought to do. Or to do nicely. All right. So as you can see, that's our little knuckle and upright assemblage. We'll take that off. And you can see that because of the way these things are spaced, the screws actually go right up next to the knuckle. They seat up in there. But on these aluminum ones, there's less tolerance or something, less meat. Something. There's less. So that the screws don't fully engage. They don't completely seat down onto the aluminum. Which is odd to me, I think. It feels weird. What are you going to do? Huh? Give him the tappings. Yeah? Cool. Get my other bearing. My other bearing today. Bearing tolerances in these knuckles are nice. It's nice. All right. Oh, shit. Parts flying. Old parts flying. All right. The radio that I ordered is actually for this one because you can see that he's running an old school 26 megahertz AM radio. And when I try to drive this car, if the radio gets more than 20 or 30 feet away from you, it starts chucking real hard. So ordered a radio for that one, and as it turns out, the radio interference for the one that I just did the soldering on is going to be a problem. It's going to be an issue. Now, I am certain that I can take these things and mill these out. You see how it's just holding in there? It's not supposed to do that. I can mill these things out and get them smoothed to the point where the knuckle will just rattle in there, and then you screw the screws all the way down, and then it's just riding on the bearings. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to check these things out, see if they wear in place, if the steering is tough enough to take it. It's a test. And if I have to, I can just go get my sanding disc out and get them working just fine. It's not an issue. I'm thinking if they wear in a little bit, it'll be a snugger fit. That way I get like not so much flop in the front suspension while it's trying to drive around. That way it's not yanking the car every direction. All right, so threaded shaft screw. Un axle dogboni. There's that. All right, so this one too, I'm going to pop that outer axle O-ring out. Probably could have thought about that well in advance of this stage of the operation. All right, that gives us enough room to play games there. Allow that to the outside. I do like that. I like the way that this side's hanging out just a little bit. So what I'm going to do, pop this guy off, put in a new, put in a new shafting. Yeah, see, it was barely on. 2 or 3 threads would have absolutely ruined itself. Well, ain't that a kick in the pants? Ooh. Now you want to come out of there. I seen you. I seen it. This one did not have a hex. Some of these models you will see when I built them, I had like, oh, cool, I put it on backwards. Nice. That was smooth. Yeah. I had less knowledge, let's put it that way. Let's be kind. Let's say that I was not as smart as I am now. We're trying to be kind. All right, in she goes. On you go. Probably. I think so. I think it'll go. If it would go on straight, that'd be a great help. All right, so the longer upper control arm shafts give me a little bit of throw. Don't you know? All right. Back. Getting ashy. Can you please just go back up on me? Thank you. Oh, yes. Yeah, that feels so much better. It's got to have some looseness coming up and down. The looseness of the steering, I'm not so much worried about. You see how now the bearings are turning easy? Okay, so if you squeeze this all in here, you're compacting the internals of the differential. It hates this. It hates you for this. So don't do this to it. You need to have your camber angle stuck correctly far enough out. The different tolerances in the bearings and axles, and because I stuck these longer upper control arm shafts, I mean I could probably get away with putting the O-rings back in there to trap the axles a little bit better. You can kind of hear them rattling just a touch, but I'm not necessarily worried about that. A little bit of bounce to those axles is not going to hurt anything. They just move around in there freely. That way, if there's any kind of dirt or grit or gets in there, it gives them a little a good angle to spit it out. Okie dokie. Steering, we're putting it on. I got it. All right. All right, from the way things look, it almost looks like I've got like a severe amount of toe in. All right, so this would lead me to want probably take that in a couple notches. A little bit of toe in the front is not going to be such a bad thing for you. It'll get you a little bit of turn in. A little bit better turn in, I guess. All right, so let's tighten this up. Now, nothing's going to be settled, really, until the radio gets into play. So when that happens, you'll get to see more of the... Yeah, that one's got to go way in. All right, so I've got a little bit. Let's see, without straightening it to the actual center point of the radio, this is just kind of a basic adjustment where I'm assuming that I'm getting it very close. And then later, I'll do the finite kind of adjustments. All right, all the axles are pulled. That'll crunch back in there once I get the. Let's see. All right. All right. So as you can see, we got it pretty well. I think that the steering's got a little bit of correction to make. Looks like this side maybe. Doesn't matter. I got to center the radio, and I can adjust some of this and do the alignment after. But like I said, the radio's not here yet. I just ordered it a couple days ago, so it will be here. You get some extra parts, some extra bushings and stuff, depending on how you're mounting it to your shock towers. I've got a blue aluminum set of shock towers in my eyeballs and should have them at some point. I also have machinations of getting a set of G-made shocks for this thing. I found a set of front shocks that'll go and a set of piggyback rears that have got little piggyback reservoirs that actually function the way they're supposed to, because I've got those same G-made piggybacks on my XV01 chassis. So can we do it? Yes, we can. Ah, got one. All right, this one was having some issues with the bearing being pushed in all the way. So what I'm going to do is put this wheel on first and double check that I've got the bearing sucked down there properly all the way into the front side of the knuckle. I did not drill these wheels out as big as probably it should have been, so a little snug. All right. I like it. She spins, and that's a good sign. All right, so we got this guy, and he's already in there. And we go on like this. Now, in technical point of fact, it wouldn't be such a bad idea because having it wouldn't be such a bad idea. The offset's all wrong. These are road tires or road rims, but the offset happened to be perfect with these spacers to match this body, which was kind of difficult because it's a bit of a wide body. But I might be able to do these guys. These might have the right amount because of these back hubs here. I might be able to get away with doing that. I don't know. I might be able to mill this down on the front because the front's a little bit sucked in. So I don't know. I might be doing some aluminums on this instead of the Toyota, but not too sure. Don't really know. Don't know yet. All right, get them sucked down. Oh yes, you can see the rims are a little bit bent, warped, and whatever, but that's kind of the way it goes. Oh, you see a little toe in's not such a bad thing because when the suspension compresses, it goes toe out big time because they don't have camber adjusted. They don't have camber blocks in these. And I believe I've got a little bit of a shock issue going on because it's kind of hanging up. Hanging up, we're not getting the full droop here. So when you put it down, you put it to full droop, or not full droop, I mean full compression, and you'll see that they go way out wide. But when they come back in and stand up, where it's normally going to be riding, that's where you usually want it to be basically straight, maybe a little toe in. That way, as it comes toe out, when you land, it doesn't start getting all wishy-washy on you. Man, I like that. I like that. We're good. We got the right little stuffs in place. What is this? It's a little axle thing. Where the hell did that come from? Oh well. Oh, yeah. The axle drawer. As a matter of fact, those are cross pins for universal joint axles. So there it is, as you can see. Nice and riding just basically how it should. I could take some camber out of this one, so I can suck the top of this tire in, maybe even pull that one in a little bit, because when it compresses, it's still camber out, and that's not exactly what you want. So I'll probably take that back in a little bit. I still have work to do to this one. Obviously, I got the little drive shaft to do. I definitely want to be throwing on some shock towers because the stress on these is going to break them. It's already cracking them. I'd like to do the differential end covers, lower control arms in aluminum, and then obviously I've got the hardened drive shaft for it. And then the new radio, I've got a nice Spectrum little Spectrum radio coming for it. And obviously already this has got a Castle Sidewinder 3 motor control. And remember how I was telling you about how the wires just need to be on a brushless motor, basically the same kind of length for the signal to get through. There you go. You see how those were cut and trimmed, and I accidentally douched one of them. You see how there's one just a little bit longer, but it's not hurting. It doesn't cog the motor. It doesn't make anything weird happen. And I was just trying to trim these to get them to work again because one of them got snipped off at the wrong angle. But as far as being a rally car, this one is easily one of the best that I have. So there you have it. And you can see how the spacing each direction is very critical. That's why those spacers, you see how the body is coming right to the edge on this tire? That's how close the spacing is on these cars. So you're seeing, so I've got a 15 millimeter set on the front and a 10 millimeter set on the back, and it just perfectly spaced it. So that's why I used, and with the offset of the rims, that's why I was using these rims. And it's gold rims. How could you not be thrilled about your car having gold rims on it? So that, I believe, is today's live stream, because I kind of want to get some food. Yeah, it's breakfast. Time for breakfast. I'm going to have to get another radio coming in for this one. So it'll be a couple weeks before I get back to that, and then I will show me finishing out the build and assembling it, testing it, making sure it all runs correctly. This one should be good to go, but I just got to put in the drive shaft and the radio, and then I can take this one out and drive it. But other than that, I think we're really rocking. We've got more parts coming in. I've got another chassis that we bought from Taiwan coming in that is, I believe, a TB-02 Pro. Like, it's a Pro chassis, all carbon fiber and aluminum, absolutely glorious. It's a shaft driven 4-wheel drive, and it's got like open differentials, but they're spooled up. So I think it's going to make a perfect drift car for my beautiful better half, because up until now, she had been drifting a very expensive car, and I had been drifting this guy. You see? And you see how, if I can get it going on in the proper way, you can see the rake that car has. So the nasty amount of camber. And see, it's got mismatched rims because I crushed this rim up against a concrete thing. But she has been driving a TRF 416 as a drift car, and that's inappropriate. It's too much race car. So her 416 got converted to a road racing car, which now has, as you would obviously know this, an R34 Nissan Skyline body. And I managed to get all the spacing and stuff so she hangs the wheels out just a little bit on the back, but not so much on the front. And it's a road going car now, but that took away the drift ability, which was highly offensive to my lady. So we had to get another chassis so she can get her Lamborghini back in service. We've got a gorgeous Lamborghini Super Trofeo body that is chameleon that I'm looking around for right now that I can't see anywhere. I'm assuming it's up in a box somewhere up in the shelves there. But there it is. Stick with us, kids. We've got plenty of stuff. I've still got the motor and motor control to install in that one. Obviously, just buku parts going in cars all over the place. The rim that I broke on my other rally car, my beadlock, my brand new plastic beadlock that I broke first time out, I ordered another set of beadlocks, so I'm going to be putting those back together. And yeah, this is going to be kicking off. Summer's getting going, and I really can't wait. Once I get to a certain level on some of these other projects, I just ordered the rims and tires that are the pre-installed foam rims and tires. They're a gray rim, which is why I'm a little bit disappointed, but they're gray, so I guess the dust and dirt won't hurt them so bad. And then I can use these for the shelf rims, so when it sits up on the shelf it can be. But I am so excited to get this Formula One car going. This thing is going to be absolutely brilliant. I've got this right here, the SXX version 2 motor control for it. That's for the Formula car. And obviously, I was dabbling in the used market. I found a nice Orca TX Series 21.5 turn motor that I was going to try and get wired up if I could ever learn how to solder correctly. And if that doesn't work, I found a Kyosho Le Mans 21.5 turn that I was going to snatch up. But one way or another, that Formula car is going to be just a blast, because I didn't show you, and it's all in the box anyway, but I've got the body for it. It's a Benetton B194. It's Michael Schumacher's car. The one he first won his first championship with by Schumachering Damon Hill at Adelaide, if that's actually what happened. Honestly, I watched a breakdown on that race, or that crash, by a pro driver, that Driver 61 guy that I rattle on about. He broke it down, and it, in some ways, I guess you could see that Schumacher saw him coming and tried to get in his way. What I thought I saw was Schumacher seeing him coming and trying to shag ass getting out of the way, like trying to keep in front of him. Like he didn't actually have a full realization, like, is the car truly broken? But either way, I've got the remote control version, and so it's awesome. Here, I'm going to cut it off and say goodbye to all you fancy people. Thank you for stopping by, and I hope Hope any of this stuff helps. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks for watching.